Welcome to episode 21 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter.
And I know I'm excited this week. You must be even more so.
I'm so excited to finally talk about my favorite Batman villain.
And, I mean, not only is he a great villain, well, we've had arguments before in the podcast about this.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, one of the best episodes.
I love
the whole show. Yeah. This is probably the one I've seen the most.
I realized watching this episode, I had like a click towards the end when I saw the gold figurines. This was the very first episode I ever saw.
Really?
Of Batman. Yeah.
Okay, to clarify for people, we're talking about If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich?
Yes. The Riddler's first appearance in Batman the Animated Series.
Where did you see it on TV? Or
yes.
Okay.
It was one of those moments where it just kind of clicked, and it was it's like, you remember the whole scene setup. I don't know if you have these like weird flashbacks, but I remember I had this this Lazy Susan. My parents had this Lazy Susan growing up that they never actually installed in the kitchen. It was just kind of in the corner. And so what I would do as a kid is I would stand on it and just kind of spin, and I'd eat cereal while spinning on the Lazy Susan.
Why?
Because I was 7, and that's what 7-year-olds do. And I remember doing that and watching this episode and thinking it was so cool. And this was my very first.
I mean, what the fuck?
It's probably a little too much information there.
No,
but
it's fascinating. I mean, that is what kids do. I guess if I had a Lazy Susan on the floor, I'd also.
Yeah, we also had like a mini trampoline, but that's fine. It was a Dr. Pepper trampoline.
What the? Okay, I don't. It's bizarre. I do think it's funny you have such specific flashbacks, because I remember watching this a lot because I had a VHS copy of like 2 Riddler episodes.
Okay.
This one included. So that's why I've seen this one more than any other ones. It's this one, and then I think maybe his 3rd episode, which is like him making the little toys.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll get to it eventually.
As well.
But yeah, so for me, like this, it was almost like when I sat down to rewatch it for the podcast, it was like I was sitting down to watch Mask of the Phantasm. Like I had that sort of reaction. Like I watched it twice this week, actually, and watching it both times, and it doesn't feel like an episode of the show for me. It feels like a little mini movie.
Yeah. I kind of wish, because, we watched, not Man of Steel, we watched Heart of Steel last week.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of wish this would have been, I mean, I don't know how they would have stretched it out, but I kind of wanted him to have a 2-parter.
Yeah, it's just so, I don't know, it's very clean. Like it's straightforward. It's a lot of fun. It's incredibly well animated too.
Yeah.
I think the animation in this is better than some of the other episodes, or maybe that's just my brain telling me that. I don't know.
I think they kind of bring in, it's not really a different color palette, but they bring in a brighter aesthetic to this episode. I think it's odd, with the maze and the different. Well, it's I don't remember who directed it.
But it's the co-creator Eric Radomski.
Okay, I think this isn't his first episode. Is it
his first episode directing? I don't remember seeing his name as a director before.
I think it might be.
I have the internet open in front of me. I could look this up. But
I did read a little bit about. It was kind of their experimental episode. They kind of played with camera angles a little bit more. They're building into the cinematography world. It's not just a
I can see that
generic cartoon anymore. Like they're making it these mini feats of cinema.
It is more cinematic than a lot of the ones. Okay, yeah. So.
Especially even the opening scene and the big fight scene in the end, you can really get that disorienting effect with the cinematography. I mean, why don't we you just want to jump right into it so I can start talking about it?
Yeah. Hang on. So there's 2 ways to do this. We can just do it the normal way, or knowing that we're going to have so much more to talk about on the Riddler episode, do we just want to flip it and do like Joker's Wild real quick to kind of get through it?
Sure.
I mean, do you have a lot of notes on Joker's Wild? I have basically nothing.
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about Joker's Wild.
Okay, let's
we're gonna tease the audience a little bit.
Exactly, of course. We're gonna play with the format a little bit. I figured we have tons to talk about with Riddler, so rather than like having to cut ourselves off, let's get the other business out of the way. So as with I think most Joker episodes, written by Paul Dini, so it's good. I think the only reason it doesn't seem as good is because we're pairing it with the Riddler episode.
Yeah,
but it's still really solid. So I'm gonna go through this really fast because I really want to talk about Riddler instead.
For people who haven't watched either of these episodes, I think Joker's Wild is very entertaining. And
It is.
For a villain that's, I mean, Joker isn't the villain in this episode, technically.
No, in actually kind of both these episodes, we have other villains, sort of, which is kind of fun.
I think this is the best villainous scheme in the show. I think it's the most. Okay. I think it's the best thought out scheme we've had in a Batman episode.
I will give you that. It actually does hold up pretty well.
Yeah.
So just. I also love how this episode opens because it opens at Arkham, and this show gets to do what like the movies don't, which is have moments the villains interact. So Joker is basically fucking with Poison Ivy by changing the channel on her. We get Scarecrow and Mad Hatter in the background. Like maybe now that we have the extended universe, we'll get these little moments where they can literally bring in characters for a day. They'll probably do that, but they won't be good. Let's be perfectly honest.
And it won't be anyone we care about.
No,
because
of course
there's
not.
no way they're going to bring in Margot Robbie or Will Smith for a day on set.
I don't mean we say that, but Marvel does it all the time.
But I think it's because they kind of care about their characters more. Like right now, there's the big.
Okay, you know what? That's true.
Small tangent. There's the big talk of Hugh Jackman being in Deadpool 2, even though Logan is supposed to be his retirement as Wolverine.
Well, yeah, there was talk about that, but
a lot of people.
No, is it Logan and Deadpool 2, or the rumor I heard was that Deadpool was going to be in Logan, and that at least the director of Logan, James Mangold, come out and said no, just because he doesn't want people to have that expectation. But I haven't heard much about the opposite.
There's been like interviews with the two of them together. There's been a lot of press with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman together.
Yeah,
so a lot of people are rumoring that. And what I think is going to happen is it's Hugh Jackman is going to be in the movie as himself, and Deadpool is going to think he's Wolverine.
That would be really funny, because I know there was that tweet that got put out recently. It was the two of them and Pierce Brosnan, and everyone's like, Pierce Brosnan as Cable, which is weird, but I'd be kind of down for that because I do love Brosnan.
Yeah,
he won't be singing, hopefully, so that'll be fine.
We will. Back to Batman.
Back to Batman. So Joker changes the channel on Poison Ivy. We see on the news that this guy Cameron Kaiser has opened a $300 million casino resort, and the surprise reveal is that it's all based around the Joker. So the casino itself is called Joker's Wild. And then from there, I love this episode finally explains why everyone's always breaking out of Arkham, because it is apparently super fucking easy.
Yeah, this is the first time we actually get. I mean, we kind of saw Batman almost break out of Arkham.
Kind of. He kind of broke in and broke out. And then, of course, the Joker escaped in Christmas the Joker. But we'll give him that Christmas because no one expects the Christmas tree to be rocket powered. But he I didn't even write down the details, but it's like he throws some soap on the water, or like soapy water on the floor, and chips the guys. And he literally just opens a door and walks outside.
There's no locks in Arkham.
No, it's really bizarre. Yeah. Almost the point where it felt like they shouldn't have even shown him escape, because it just seemed too easy. But I mean,
this episode
had to get it in there, so.
Feels very, even with the art style, because I don't know if you know, ACOM came back for this episode.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
They kind of restructured themselves, but this feels almost like a Looney Tunes episode.
Well, it does, and there's very specific references to Looney Tunes all the way through it.
Yeah. Especially in the end.
Oh my God, especially in the end, yeah.
But even with the art style, there's a lot of blend frames. Do you know what those are?
I don't.
It's blend or stretch frames, where you've seen them all the time, and they're famous on the internet for people freezing on them. And it's where, to save animation time, they'll do a regular frame, and for fast movement, they'll have a character kind of stretched or elongated in the second frame, and in the third frame they'll be in the second spot. So when you play it fast, it looks like they're moving, but they're actually just kind of stretching across the space.
Oh, okay. I do know what you're talking about, yeah.
And usually we haven't seen that in this show. It's been very stiff isn't the right word, but very rigid in their style. They draw every frame out.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we see that kind of fluidity and that kind of cartoonish style, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I actually want to go back and rewatch it now, kind of knowing that. I mean, maybe some part of my brain registered that, but I didn't really think about it. But
there was one frame specifically that I saw, because I think they held it on for too long, and it's when the very end there's a helicopter crash. We'll get to all this eventually.
Yeah.
And right as it crashes, you see Joker kind of like fall in the window, and they just kind of freeze on him, just kind of splatted on the window for a second.
Okay.
And then you see him fall the rest of the way. And I think it might have been a mistake, but I really enjoyed it, where you actually get to see the
I
Did they
vaguely
hold
recall
on one
that.
frame for a second?
Okay, I vaguely recall. It's been a couple days since I watched it. I only kind of remember that.
I definitely didn't watch it 30 minutes before recording this.
Well, you're much busier than I am, so I totally understand that. But so we will get to the plane crash or the helicopter crash eventually. But Bruce is at the opening of the casino. And then Alfred shows up, and now he's bat equipped to figure out what the hell's going on because he knows the Joker is going to do something. He believes that Kaiser changed the theme of the casino at the last minute. The Joker shows up, and he's able to blend in because all the employees are dressed as either Joker or as Harley. He decides to go play blackjack as a dealer at one of the tables. And it is a great scene.
Might have been my favorite Joker scene.
Yeah, because he's messing with people at the table. Kaiser sees on the monitor that it is the Joker there, and he just lets him do his thing. And it's great. And this is part we're talking about. Bruce goes and sits down at the table and just fearlessly mocks the Joker to his face. Joker's still kind of trying to blend in, not give away who he is. It is a really fun scene to watch.
And just hearing the voices, because this is the first time it's
Bruce and the Joker.
Yeah. Kevin Conroy does the Bruce voice in this interaction. And you can almost like feel how much fun the voice actors are having with this scene.
It's a fun scene.
It's great. Yeah. And you see Bruce so obviously Joker has like a rigged deck. So he always pulls a 20 or 21 out.
Yeah.
And Bruce, using his super ninja skills, pulls out his own 21.
Well, he learned magic.
Yeah.
Both sleight of hand and actual magic at some point.
Yeah.
He's probably been in the Magic Castle.
Don't rub it in. But it was just a very nice scene. It was very fun.
It was playful.
Yeah.
And it's something we hadn't seen before, which was cool. I mean, they do a great job of not making the Joker episodes feel repetitive. This one in particular, they gave it kind of a fun new angle on that. But Bruce bests the Joker at the table basically, and just kind of rubs it in and then changes into Batman. Joker spots Batman. He steals the Joker mobile, which I guess is his Joker mobile.
I guess so.
I'm assuming Kaiser like bought off of a police impound or something like that, and then crashes it along with Batman. So Batman's temporarily out of commission. And then we find out the scheme, to your point, which actually holds up pretty damn well. It makes a lot of sense that Kaiser was in huge debt from building the thing. So he decides to make it Joker themed, knowing the Joker will attack, destroy the place, and he can cash in on the insurance claim. So I'm sure it's a plot that's been done countless times. Off the top of my head, I'm actually struggling to think of an example in film.
Of any of it.
I know I've seen it before. I just can't remember. But
I don't know if we ever talked about it on the podcast, but we joked about how like Gotham insurance works, and if it's like, is it like per villain?
Per villain,
or like do you have to choose villains based on your insurance plan? Like you get 4 villains, and you have to just constantly. It's just a game of like poker where you have to guess which villain is going to do something crazy this week.
What I love,
like Penguin's been going crazy this year. I gotta have my Penguin
insurance. He's been real busy. He's got the Iceberg Lounge. He's building up some enemies.
Yeah,
shit's going to go down. I also love the idea that not only could that be a thing, that could absolutely be a plot one of the villains would come up with too. It is a scheme worthy of like Penguin or the Joker actually to try and set something up like that.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. I would love a whole story about that.
Well, we know that Kaiser maxed out on his Joker insurance on this one.
Absolutely.
Because he needs it. And Batman confronts him in his office, and he stuns him and basically just dumps him down at the Joker's feet, down in the basement. The Joker is setting up the whole place to blow. Batman gets tied to a giant roulette wheel.
I was going to say,
don't know why that's
another
there.
thing that I love that kind of raises the fun of this episode is the giant props are back. We haven't had a chance to have giant props in this series so far.
No.
And that was kind of a staple of the 60s and 70s was the
giant ridiculous things.
Yeah, especially the Joker.
Yeah, I know soon we're going to get the origin of the giant penny in the Batcave.
Okay.
I think that's almost got him. We're going to get that. But you're right. Like we don't have a lot of that, and then here we do.
Yeah.
I think one of the best examples of that is in the new Batman Adventures, the Legends of the Dark Knight episode, where you've probably seen it. It's the one where it's like a whole bunch of kids telling tales about Batman. Okay. So one of them is basically a recreation of The Dark Knight Returns. One of them is
where they make fun of Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, he's got the pink bow and he's super flamboyant. And then one of them is like a reference to the Dick Sprang era. And so it's Batman and Robin fighting the Joker in a giant like music hall and like all giant instruments. We'll get there eventually. Tangent aside. So Batman tied to the giant roulette wheel. He tells the Joker what Kaiser's whole scheme is. So the Joker is like, well, fuck this. He decides not to blow up the bombs, but he still spins the roulette wheel and throws a grenade onto it. So, okay, I have a question for you. When Batman goes to get out of this, we see him pull a grapple out of his utility belt. What did you think he was going to do with that?
Definitely not what he did.
Yeah, because one assumes he's going to grapple off the thing. No, he launches the grapple, catches the grenade that's bouncing around, and it flies off into a
giant
mouth of a Joker statue and blows up, and that's how he escapes.
Yes.
To their credit, I wasn't expecting that, so it was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Also, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Don't get it. But he does escape, and the Joker hijacks Kaiser's chopper. Batman pursues with his glider. Again, how does he keep up with him?
That glider is magic.
Yeah. But he does catch up with them. The helicopter crashes into the casino, where apparently there's that stretch. What is it called?
It's either a stretch frame or a blend frame.
Okay. Where he gets all stretched out. And then the Joker gets captured, goes back to Arkham.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
It was fun. Oh, and then the very end, they do a Looney Tunes ending where they're watching the news. Joker changes the channel and you see the actual Looney Tunes logo.
Looney Tunes logo. Because also at the beginning, when he's being walked into the common area at Arkham, he's whistling the Looney Tunes theme.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then he does an impression of the Looney Tunes character. I looked it up and I forgot to write it down which one. But yeah, it's very Looney Tunes heavy. Also some pulls from the 89 movie. I don't know if you got those.
I didn't.
One, I mean, they're small, but one is smashing the TV like he does in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is he threatens to rip somene's lungs out, which was something that Jack Nicholson's Joker threatened to do.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Those are my only bits of trivia for this entire episode. You probably have more notes on this than I do.
I don't actually have that many notes. Let's see. I wanted to bring up this question for you. So we always make fun of the Arkham guards and how they're obviously not good at anything.
Incredibly inept.
And the first guard, who just kind of like knows that Joker is going to escape, just lets him escape. Do you think that Cameron, what's his face?
Kaiser?
Yes. Do you think that he paid the guards to let him escape? Because he needed him to escape.
Maybe. I do vaguely recall now one of the guys seeing him. I guess in my mind I expected that guard to reappear somewhere, like he was going up to get help. He didn't. That might be a possible explanation. I mean, I think the real explanation is that they just were short-sighted and they were probably a scene they had written in that they cut out for time. But it's possible.
But then this brings up a whole new idea of Gotham. With all of the constant explosions and fires that we talk about from the villains that are just somehow escaping Arkham, do you think that the elite of Gotham have kind of the guards in their pocket to be like, oh, my company's not doing well. My one of 7 chemical companies isn't doing well. We're just going to cash in on the insurance because Batman is obviously going to blow it up.
Yeah. You know what? I'm willing to buy that theory. Gotham is so damn corrupt that you know what? I'm just going to say, yes, that is a true thing that happens.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That is the most logical theory ever to explain why Gotham is constantly getting destroyed.
Yeah, because no business is ever happening because everyone's too afraid of villains to pop up, so they're just constantly cashing in the insurance money. It's just a constant loop.
Oh my god, it must suck to have an insurance company in Gotham.
Yeah,
like you were just constantly handing out insurance claims.
Yeah, you have to be.
Oh, I feel kind of bad for those guys. No, I don't. They chose to live in Gotham. It's a terrible decision on their part.
Right. And yeah, the only other note I had was ACOM is back. They had a new layout designer, which kind of is almost like the in-between person between storyboarding and animation.
Okay.
To kind of give them a frame to work with, which was definitely needed after ACOM's last lackluster performance.
Yeah.
And so I think that kind of helped boost it. And another reason I think this episode is more like fun and goofy is, I don't remember who directed it, but they aren't like,
I can look it up.
they're not I just remember reading this. They're not the best with action scenes.
Okay.
Like obviously, like, the catching the grenade with the grappling hook was amazing, but that fight in the helicopter, it was fine, but not nearly comparable to the fight we had in the Riddler episode or any kind of big fight we've had in previous episodes. So I think they just kind of goofed it up a little bit to kind of cover the kind of the lack of fighting.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's not a lot of action in this episode.
Yeah.
Is there? But you're right. It does make up for it though, and being more of a goofy dialogue driven episode. And I think the dialogue's really solid in it, actually.
Yeah, I love it.
It's pretty funny. I'm looking up real quick to figure out who directed this. Boyd Kirkland.
Yes.
Who's done a lot of them, actually.
He's unfortunately, I think he's done a lot of the bad ones.
Well, let's take a quick gander down a Wikipedia hole here. Recently he did Cat Scratch Fever. Not one of the better ones.
Didn't he do?
He did Perchance the Dream.
I was about to say he did that one's the Mad Hatter episode.
Yeah, that one's actually quite good though.
But fighting scenes is what we're going
okay,
for.
Yeah. Appointment in Crime Alley. These don't have great fights, do they?
Yeah.
I guess he's better with the kind of the character drama. Joker's Favor, which is the introduction of Harley Quinn. So, he did Beware the Grey Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I do agree with you, though, that I think those are not action heavy episodes. Oh, my God. He did It's Never Too Late, which is the gangster at the railroads.
Oh, yes.
Episode. Oh, so we can thank him for the mangled leg of a child. Oh, The Forgotten. Oh,
yeah. So he's done a handful of these episodes, and none of them have ever really been. We can almost say that he's better with the psychological villains.
I'd agree with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think overall this is a pretty solid episode.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Any other notes before we go on to?
If you don't want to watch the episode, please just watch that one scene.
Just that one, watch the one
Bruce
clip
and Joker playing blackjack.
I think this is one that's worth watching, especially because we're very much glossing over in favor of our preferred episode here.
Yeah.
But it is worth going and looking at. Real quick, I think this is where we're going to cut in our latest Nerd of School promo.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Ryan and Kelly.
Hey guys, it's Ryan and Kelly. From the Hellmouthy podcast. Do you want to watch Buffy? Either again or for the first time ever?
And talk about it?
With us? You'll be doing talking by yourself, but we'll be talking. Check out the Hellmouthy podcast on Nerdist School Network. Listen to it.
Okay, let's try it one more time.
And there it was, guys. That was the promo.
We did it.
I'm not sure what it's going to be this week, but I bet you it was good.
Yep.
All right. So now we're on to the real excitement. The tease is over. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich?
The introduction to the Riddler.
Yes. And we start out at Competitron, which is the maker of Riddle of the Minotaur game. The, I guess, CEO, it's not really clear, whatever. The main guy at the company, Mockridge, he fires Nigma because he doesn't want to share royalties, even though Nigma created the game. But it was like a work for hire thing, and Nigma basically gets screwed out of a shitload of money. So then we jump forward 2 years, and Bruce is in negotiations to buy Competitron because he wants to bring the company there to bring jobs. And across the street on a stock ticker,
That's what I assumed it was.
Stock ticker?
Well, yeah, I was like, it's like the CNN building has the news line.
Yeah, the little
Well, also used for stocks.
Exactly. I'm going to call it let's call it stock ticker, whatever.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
There's a riddle. Why do multi-million-dollar deals break down in the wasteland? So Bruce is trying to figure out what the hell that means back at the Bat Cave, where Dick is playing the Minotaur game on the Bat computer, which Alfred reveals is apparently a $50 million computer, which I guess kind of makes sense considering there's not really internet yet and it can do everything. So
we also learned there's a second computer in this world right now, and it's on his fucking wrist.
Oh, on his Palm Top computer.
Yes.
Yeah. Did the Palm Pilot exist?
I don't think so.
I don't know if they
this is still 92.
Yeah.
I don't know if we had touch screens yet.
So glad I have my laptop right here. No, that didn't come out until 97. So he just happened to choose the word palm top computer.
Yeah.
Because it's not really on his palm, it's on the top of his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is also that is like on par with modern technology in terms of what it can do, actually.
Since you have watched most of Star Trek, had Star Trek done like a risk communication thing yet?
I don't know.
I guess James Bond has kind of always had the like communicator in the watch.
Well, there's a communicator, but not like a full blown computer.
I know. I'm just trying to think where they got the idea of putting it there.
I don't know.
Of all places.
I haven't. I've seen a decent amount of the original series, but I haven't watched Next Generation, where I feel like that's more likely where something like that would have existed. I know that in Next Gen, they don't have communicators anymore. They just tap their badges.
Yeah.
And that chimes in. I don't know where that would have really come from.
Quantum Leap come out? Didn't he have like the forearm computer?
That was in the 80s, mid 80s. Definitely before this.
Yeah.
I remember Dean Stockwell's character, Al, I think was his name.
I just know.
Had that like walk arounds like computer that kind of looked like Tetris blocks smashed together.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you where that came from, to be honest.
Good for them though.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clever, this little thing, and it comes in handy later. But so we learn as Robin is playing the game that if you get a riddle wrong, the hand of fate comes and takes you to the part of the maze. His character in the game gets dumped into the wasteland, and that's when Bruce, now dressed for Batman, realizes that Mockridge owns a club in the wasteland and that he's walking into a trap. So they go to the club. Nigma's there. He handcuffs Mockridge with a puzzle, like a ring puzzle sort of thing. Handcuffs. Batman and Robin crash in. A fight ensues. As you'd expect, the whole place catches on fire.
Because always,
yeah. Everything's rigged to blow. And Robin gets trapped in a giant Chinese finger trap style contraption. And the Riddler gets away with Mockridge.
He also gives him the same kind of setup that we see in the end of the live action movie, where do you have time to save them both?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, can you either
obviously not the same stakes?
Yeah,
he's
but can
going
you
to kill one of the other.
Can you either save Robin, who's trapped and on fire, basically, or Mockridge, who are throwing the trunk of her car and driving off? So he of course picks Robin.
Yeah,
as we all would,
standing right next to him.
Yeah, he's got to be a good guy every once in a while. And then as they're driving off, Batman and Robin, the city lights start blinking Morse code. And it's the Riddler setting up a trap because now that they know who he is, Batman knows right away that it's Edward Nygma.
Yeah.
He just knows. He just calls him Nygma and never calls him the Riddler.
Well, no, because he introduces himself as the Riddler. And Batman immediately is like, oh, it's just a play on your name.
Yeah.
Edward Nygma.
Hey, Nygma.
Yeah.
I think as I was rewatching it again today, I feel like because we haven't had a lot of Robin episodes. And I think I realized now they had to include Robin in this one so that they kind of like the original reason he was introduced. There was a reason for Batman or Robin to be explaining why all these things are going on.
Right.
It's like, so he has to explain to Robin why he knows who Edward Nygma is, how to play on his name. Robin has to explain what
video games are,
what the answers are to some of the riddles and the puzzles and stuff like that. But I'm also glad because I really, really like the dynamic between the two of them. And I think this episode in particular does a great job with it.
Yeah. Cause the past couple times we've seen Robin, it's been more of a conflict. They're butting heads with each other. Yeah. They're not trusting each other. This is a good old, like, we're buddies again story.
It kind of feels a little bit like the old TV show. Like it has this playful dynamic between the two of them. I mean, it's way less ridiculous and Robin actually has stuff to do. But that's part of the reason I like this one too, is that especially as we get to the end, which we'll get to shortly, Robin is a huge factor in getting them through the challenge because he actually understands this world better than Batman in some sense. I don't know. I can't not love this episode.
I've seen it
wonderful. So many damn times, but all right. So the Morse code, it's blinking. Batman uses his supercomputer on his wrist. And the riddle is, when is the Minotaur's owner as high as an elephant's eye? I couldn't follow along with his logic. Did you get
that reference?
It's something about corn. What's the song?
So what I think is funny is this. I think it's funny that Batman knows this because I feel like after the death of his parents, he would avoid all theater.
Okay.
That is a line from a song from the musical Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. I'm glad
we go
you know
to
this.
a land. I Googled it.
Okay. Well, never mind.
You think I know anything about Oklahoma? That state sucks.
I don't know. The play is not the state.
I know. But the line is basically saying, where do we go where the corn grows as high as an elephant's eye?
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Because I just like, okay, corn. I didn't.
Yeah, they obviously gloss up, probably for copyright reasons. They just kind of gloss over any other information about that song.
He's like, oh, it's an old song. It's before your time. But I mean, Batman realizes, okay, corn is also maze, aka a maze, because they just opened up a Maze of the Minotaur attraction at the amusement park.
At the abandoned amusement park.
There's always, which I guess this one's technically not abandoned, though, is it? It looks abandoned.
I guess because, it's night.
Except for that one section.
But I wanted to just quickly, so obviously anytime Bruce sees a gun or has any kind of inkling towards his parents, he kind of freezes up a little bit. Do you think theater does the same thing to him?
What, like going to the movies or musical theater? Because I guess
it changes.
I guess we don't actually know in
this story. We don't know if it was a movie or
we don't know, because a lot of times it's going to see Zorro, and then other times it's going to see like a play or the opera.
That one time it was Cats.
What?
Wasn't it Cats in one of them?
Like the actual real life musical Cats?
Yes.
I really don't think so.
I hope not, but I feel like I remember one of the stories it being Cats.
I think the Wayans have better taste than that.
Are you hating on Cats?
I've actually never seen it, but I've heard it's not very good.
Neither have I.
Yeah. Except for like, what's the one super famous song from it? It's like
remember.
All Alone in the, I don't know. There's one song that like everyone knows from Cats, and apparently the rest of it sucks ass, but that's a tangent aside. Maybe I don't see Bruce going to the movie theater a lot, certainly after that, if that's how his parents,
I guess so,
did die. Like, for example, we never see Nolan's Bruce ever go back to the opera.
That's true.
So maybe.
But that's for sophisticated people, and this is
that's true.
Billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Yeah. Has less fun than the other billionaire playboy philanthropist. So, but so they know they have to go to the amusement park, and they have 10 minutes to go inside to navigate the maze and save Mockridge. They don't have the utility belts. All of the traps have been turned deadly, oftentimes with really forced puns.
Great puns. Like what was Losers Ahead?
Losers Ahead. And around the corner, it's the blades in the wall. Those like are identical
Losers
to
Ahead.
the blades in the end of The Last Crusade. I think that must have been a deliberate.
Okay.
I didn't see that confirmation anywhere. I just realized that now. But they reach a point. Oh wait, real quick. I just want to talk about something that the riddles. I really like the riddles in the maze.
Yeah, they were very creative.
Yeah.
And there's a point with them I want to bring up after we give the whole episode out.
Okay. Let's just get to the rest real quick, and then we can talk into the fun stuff. So, Batman deliberately chooses a wrong answer on a riddle, so the hand of fate flies in. They have 1 minute left to save Mockridge, and he cuts open the top of the hand, and he uses his palm-top computer once again to take control of it. They zoom over to the Minotaur. It asks his riddle. I didn't write it down, but the answer is the human brain, because it's the only thing that
what has a million eyes, 4 lobes.
It has no muscle, but controls 2 hemispheres.
Yes,
something along those lines.
Yeah,
but it's the brain. So even though they get it right, the Riddler's like, well, kill them anyways. And then Bruce smashes the hand of fate into the Minotaur, and they're safe. But clever Riddler already on his way out of town on a plane.
Yes.
And then the little wrap up scene,
which I really enjoyed.
I did.
It's kind of the villain getting his own without.
Is this the first time the villain's gotten away with it?
Besides like the mob bosses, Clock King got away. Clayface got away.
But not only, well, I guess other people got away. This one was the Riddler lost. He didn't kill Mockridge, but part of his plan was already be gone. I guess I feel like the other guys that kind of like snuck out the last minute, whereas the Riddler's the only one who was smart enough to be like, I'm just going to get out of here now.
Yeah,
to cover my own ass. But he gets away, but there's still comeuppance, because even though Bruce buys out Competitron and Mockridge nets a nice 10 million, he is now terrified and has to like lock his doors at night and slink around with a shotgun because he thinks the Riddler's going to come and get him.
Yeah, I love that.
Then
the last line, which is kind of a riddle into itself, is what's the price of a good night's sleep?
Yeah.
which I really enjoyed.
I think it's great. Like, I think it's part of the reason this is so good. Cause I mean, like Joker's Wild, there's kind of two villains. I just think this story lands better because Mockridge has, I'd say, a greater comeuppance in some ways than, or more ironic comeuppance than Kaiser. And the Riddler really does get away with it. Like he's free at the end. He's not back in Arkham. But God, it's so so damn good.
For me, Riddler is this very wonderful and weird combination of Clock King, Scarecrow, and Joker.
Okay.
Where they obviously dress him they give him a similar kind of backstory to Clock King. Cheated out of a bunch of money. 2 years later, he's out for vengeance. Not really wanting to be a supervillain, just kind of wants his own revenge. Scarecrow, I guess not really much in this episode, but from what we know about Riddler, he's very much into kind of the psychology of how to trick people. There's been a couple stories and a lot in his backstory about like he enjoys fooling people and cheating people is kind of a riddle into itself for him.
Yeah.
Similar to how Scarecrow, his overall goal is just to understand and manipulate fear.
Yeah.
And see how people react to fear.
Yeah. Because like even in this, the Riddler will often set up things that are unwinnable.
Yeah.
Like deliberately so. Like Batman does cheat, but the game itself was kind of a cheat. There was no way they're going to get through the maze in 10 minutes to get him. Which
from my research, that isn't a normal plot point of Riddler.
Oh no, really?
He usually, at least in like schemes to catch him, he always leaves a clue, and it's actually like a tick he has. He has a compulsion. He has to leave a clue behind. He has horrible OCD where he has to always, even when he doesn't want to. There was a string of comics, I think in the 80s or early 90s, where he was actually like trying to not do riddles anymore. Like he knew he could get away with it, but as he was leaving the building, like he couldn't force himself out because he needed to leave some evidence that he was there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it makes him kind of fun.
Makes him a lot of fun. I love everything about the Riddler and kind of his. So I looked up his background because I was very curious because I'd always heard like he's a villain who's like his overall goal is just to trick Batman. And I was like, that was it kind of makes sense as a villain. Yeah. I wanted to know kind of the history behind that. And there were two kind of Riddler backstories that I found. I don't know how they blend in together. He's also had a lot of weird revamps where they're like,
I think didn't recently, like before the New 52, didn't he go good for a while and then he slipped back? I just glossed over that.
His biggest story, in my opinion, is the Hush storyline where he tricks Bruce's old friend, now villain, to kind of help him break out all the villains.
Yeah, that is a great. It's a spoiler to talk about it, but I guess we kind of already have. But I figured
spoilers.
You guys, if anyone's listening and cares, they've probably read Hush at this point. That is probably the best Riddler storyline.
Yeah. So right after that, he goes. He basically is. I thought Hush beat him up. It was actually Poison Ivy beat him to near death to the point where he lost his memories.
Oh God!
Of being a villain, wakes up. And like to pay for all of his crimes, he becomes a PI. And while being a PI, or his first case, Batman beats him to the punch, and he like can't stand it, which I think is hilarious. So there's a stint in the late 90s, early 2000s where they team up for a lot of the stories, which I think is very interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then just before Final Crisis, you see him as his own private investigator. And then also right before Final Crisis, he decides to be villain again. Of course. And they're also doing this in the New 52 right now. He's no longer a Batman villain. He's now a Green Arrow villain.
I saw a picture of him on a Green Arrow cover.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting.
I think
he kind of works because can you name any Green Arrow villain off the top of your head?
Count Vertigo?
Thank you. I couldn't. From watching all of Arrow, I still couldn't.
Well, because Arrow just borrows mostly
Batman villains
or Flash villains.
Yeah.
That's the only one I know off the top of my head.
Yeah. So like obviously Batman has this amazing rogues gallery, and Riddler can never really compared to the other crazies, because I group him in with the crazies villain.
Yeah.
Joker, Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, etc. He doesn't really stand out in any way.
No, I mean,
He's great at the supporting role, like we see in the Arkham games.
yeah, he is. That is also, I think, one of his best uses is in the Arkham games.
Yeah.
Maybe less so in Arkham Knight.
Yeah, a little bit. But as a Green Arrow villain, he really stands out.
I could see that.
Because he doesn't, Green Arrow doesn't have any great villains.
Yeah, no.
And it is more because I haven't read many Green Arrow comics. Green Arrow doesn't have the same intelligence as Batman does, from my understanding.
No, he's not the genius strategist that Batman is.
Yeah, so it's nice to see someone that's kind of not on Riddler's level kind of try and beat him.
Yeah,
where
that's
it
fair.
is almost, I don't know the story as well, but it's, in my opinion, in my mind, it's almost like a brains versus brawn battle for them.
Yeah. I guess it would be interesting. I haven't read any of that. I didn't even know that he was a Green Arrow villain now. But I guess that is nice because Batman is smarter than him, so you kind of know it's always going to work out fine.
Yeah. So backstory for Riddler. The one that I found the most interesting was in all Batman villain fashion, he was beat as a child by his dad.
Yep.
Because his dad just refused to believe that Enigma was this, like, he was a genius growing up. He was a genius kid who had, was very smart at stealing and puzzles and all this stuff. And his dad always thought he was cheating somehow. There's no way his son was smarter than him when he was like 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. And so his OCD and his tick for leaving things behind is to prove that he didn't cheat, that he actually did this on his own.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I think it's really cool, and it's kind of a creative take on the idea where he's not just trying to do it to prove his smarts to Batman, but it's kind of this thing in the back of his head. Mm-hmm. But the other backstory that I read, which kind of really contradicts that idea.
Oh no,
is that he loved puzzles, and like I said before, his manipulating people and cheating people was his own form of a puzzle. So he quickly became, a card shark and pickpocket, and he would steal his dad's wallet and steal money from his dad all the time. So his dad, to kind of nurture that villain side of him, would find more creative and harder things for Riddler to steal, and that kind of got him better at puzzles and got him to be this kind of, master sleight of hand Riddler that we have now. Yeah,
so his dad kind of took him under his wing and nurtured that side of him. Yes,
thank you. The quote that I found really interesting was, if I was going to, this is Riddler talking about his dad talking about him. Mm-hmm. If I was going to be such a stubborn thief, I was going to have to earn it.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That fits. Yeah, because we've talked before on this podcast that, like, he is oftentimes just treated as a Joker ripoff, sort of, like
that's kind of
a lesser Joker. And I think when he's not utilized well, he feels that way. But, like, in the show, this isn't a Joker episode. It has a totally different structure to it. It wouldn't work if the Joker were in his place, and like Hush too. The whole point is that you don't expect him. Batman even comments in that comic that, his shtick is getting tired, and what does he do? Like, he's the smartest of them all. Like, he actually figures out who Batman is and sets this whole thing up. But no, I think he can be. I think when he's utilized well, he is great. I just don't think he's often utilized that well.
Right. Yeah. Kind of going off that point. There was another quote that I found that I love. When Riddler finds out Bruce's identity as Batman, Bruce's kind of retort to that, because Riddler is trying to
trying to gloat, like, I have your secret identity.
What are you gonna do? I have your secret identity. I can reveal it at any time. I have power over you.
Yeah.
And Batman's answer is, riddles are your compulsion, your addiction, and a riddle that everyone knows the answer to is worthless.
Yeah.
So he kind of
just shuts him down.
It spoils the riddle if he reveals who Batman is.
Yeah.
Which I love. I think that's hilarious.
Always has the upper hand, Batman.
Yeah. But yeah, there are also two other quick points in this episode which I really loved. The very slight video game references.
Oh yeah.
That I have to bring up because I love the games that they reference. When Robin is playing the game in the Batcave, it's very reminiscent of old Atari games. The one that I connected to immediately was E.T. because he's just kind of moving around and not doing anything.
Okay, never played it.
No one should. It's
wasn't the one that they like.
That's the one they buried. In the desert.
Yeah.
The Hand of Fate is very similar to the Hand of Andros from Star Trek. No, damn it, Star Fox franchise.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
Which would make sense because I feel like the first iteration of Star Fox came out 1991. I don't know that one for sure.
I don't know.
I'm sure someone's gonna yell at me for not giving that the right answer. Do you see who the voice of Riddler was?
I did.
It is John
Glover.
Who's also Lionel Luthor from the Smallville, not Small World. Smallville franchise.
Possibly also Small World, but definitely Smallville.
Sorry, I'm getting all caught up in my words.
Do you know his other DC Comics appearance?
No.
He is Dr. Woodrow in Batman and Robin. I think it's Dr. Woodrow, the crazy scientist who turns Pamela Isley into Poison Ivy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I love him. He's awesome.
Yeah. I think those are all my notes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much else. Everyone kind of knows like his other iterations. He was played by Frank Gorshin in the 60s, and he's been in like all of the other animated forms. He's obviously in the games. And then, of course, most famously, infamously played by Jim Carrey in Batman Forever.
I mean, that was my first kind of intro to the Riddler.
Yeah.
And I think it was for a lot of people.
Yeah. And we've talked about that before, where most of that movie doesn't work, but I will say that Jim Carrey's Riddler does.
Even though they played him, I learned that it's different from his comic persona. The comic persona kind of changed because of him.
I could see that.
Before, he was more of a Clock King type person. He was very methodical, and you would think they kind of turned him into a Joker-esque character.
Yeah. Well, look at the way he's used in this versus the way he's used in that movie, right? Like that shows it right there. Like, you know, he's got the bowler hat, and he's very he's sophisticated in his own way.
And he's already planned his escape before the whole thing even starts. Like, he's already out.
Yeah. He's not just a loon, which is kind of what they did with him.
Yeah.
In the movie.
But it was fun.
It is fun. I have a soft spot for Batman Forever.
Yeah. And then last super quick question. Do you think Batman was too smart in this episode?
Oh, kind of like how like James Bond will just pull out like completely random, like very, very specific references like wine and stuff like that at random moments. Maybe a little bit. I mean, okay. I'm trying to think if there's any examples where like Batman isn't likely to have already known that. I mean, the one thing that didn't quite fly for me was him like off the top of his head remembering that Mockridge owned a club called the Wasteland. Admittedly, Dick was on the computers; he couldn't just look it up. That might be a little bit far fetched. I guess it doesn't surprise me too much.
I mean, it makes sense because he knew who Edward Nygma was beforehand.
Maybe a little bit. It didn't feel particularly egregious, though.
Okay.
Did it for you?
No, it was... I think this is the first time we see him at his potential. Every other time, they kind of dumb him down for the situation. Yeah, I feel like this is the Batman that we should be seeing more. This smarty smart one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's about as smart as he should be in this. Because you're right. There's no point where he feels like he fell into a really easy, dumb trap.
Right.
Which is rare. Maybe that's part of the reason I like this episode too, is that Batman never feels really stupid like he does half the time.
No trash cans, no trains, no real PSAs.
Yeah, they're not just trying to
fight a giant Minotaur PSA.
Yeah, they're not trying to just like force him into peril when they don't have to, or they have to, so they just, I don't know. No, I think I genuinely think this is one of the best episodes. I prefer this to Heart of Ice. I know Heart of Ice is considered like the best one. That one is much more emotional than this one. I love this episode.
Me too.
Yeah. It was like this episode and then Phantasm, like the two that I'm super excited about.
Yeah. And
we're getting actually kind of close-ish to Phantasm.
I know. I think, like 2 more months.
I think sometime in March we're getting around to it actually, which,
exciting.
And like, I didn't think about this last time recording. I only thought about it once I was like putting it all together, and you pointed out 20 episodes in.
Well, yeah, we're doing pretty good.
We're doing solid. Yeah. Like, damn, I just missed that entirely. But oh no, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
We'll do a big celebration at like 50 or something.
Something like that. Yeah. Or maybe around 25. I do want to start bringing in some bonus stuff. I do want to find a time to do your, the evolution of the sidekick.
Okay.
Bonus recording. I want to find a time to squeeze that in there because I think that'd be fun to start doing.
All right.
But I think at this point, Bat Plug, you got something for us?
Yeah. I watched the new Triple X movie this week.
This is where you texted me about that.
So I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast. We have this scale if it's a bad good movie or a good bad movie.
Yes.
And this is one of the best bad movies I've seen in a long time.
Is it?
It's kind of like, because of the Fast and Furious franchise, the whole like dumb action film has kind of like, the bar has been raised a little bit to kind of have a story.
Weirdly enough, it has both been raised and lowered at the same time because of Fast and the Furious.
But we haven't, and I think also, I just thought of this, I think the rise of disaster films has kind of shoot away from like just the dumb action movie. Because the last dumb action movie I can think of is San Andreas.
Yeah, we're getting fewer disaster movies because they're just so done at this point. People
because now we're just living one.
No, oh god, yeah. But yeah, I think we're also past the point of like big CG smashy. Did they do that in Triple X? Okay.
Oh man, it's so good, guys. Donnie Yen.
I mean, I do love Donnie Yen.
So good. I was mildly, and there's a twist ending. Who would have guessed the twist ending?
Does it also set up another Triple X movie? I'm sure it does.
Kind of.
Of course it does.
It's open-ended where there could be one.
Yeah. I mean, this thing also got wrecked at least the domestic box office.
Oh, I will save it.
So, because what beat it out? Hidden Figures was actually holding really well. And then something else came out that same weekend and just took it.
Split?
Yeah, Split beat it. Mm-hmm. Dude, when M. Night Shyamalan beats you at the box office.
But this is like, a lot of people are really enjoying this movie. I still won't see it because I'm still boycotting Shyamalan.
Oh, Split. People like Split. I do kind of want to see it. I've heard good things about it.
No one likes Triple X. It's just me right now.
I mean, I liked the original.
I think if people like the original, they're really going to enjoy this one because it's just like a dumb, turn your brain off, enjoy the explosions kind of movie.
I don't think I could even deal with it. I feel like it'd be so dumb. It would hurt me.
Oh, physically you just gotta enjoy it
to watch it.
Just do it for Donnie Yen.
I do love Donnie Yen. I do love Donnie Yen.
And Vin Diesel, like his character, like there's been like a 20-year jump in time between the movies just because it fits the timeline.
Well,
or 10 years.
It's 10 years.
But his wardrobe hasn't changed a day.
Well, no,
still the cutoff sleeves, still the like colored camo. I love it.
Does he ever utter the words family?
He doesn't, unfortunately. I feel like that's in his contract. He can't say that in any other movie.
The contract he wrote for himself.
Yeah.
With Fast and the Furious. Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, that's my plug. People should go see it. You don't have to, but it's, you know what? It's fun. It's Cameron, just fun.
Fuck you, because now I have to conclude that in the episode description on Facebook and stuff. Cause I always try and like promote what we plug so people can get access to it. So now I have to, fuck you. Now I got to support that damn movie.
Yep. Got to do it.
Okay.
What do you got to plug?
Well, I did watch Series of Unfortunate Events. It was good. I never read the books. I didn't have quite the connection to it. I found it hard to kind of get going, but then once I got going, I really, really liked it. Yeah. And I'm excited for them to continue. It's a lot of fun. I love the opening song, actually. It's been like stuck in my head all week.
Oh, the Neil Patrick Harris song?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and then I've been reading the Injustice comic.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, because I had read an article earlier this year about like the kind of the best comics, and that popped up on there. I'm like, how can a comic series based off of a fight video game that happens to feature DC Comics characters be good? Not only is it better than that should be, it is better than most other DC books I've read in a while. It is phenomenal. Because it gets to be in its own universe, they can do whatever they want. They can kill everybody. Everyone is in it. Like any DC Comics character you can imagine is in there, even to the point of there being characters that I don't know.
I love that in a series.
Yeah.
If I have to stop and look someone up, I really
They have some
kind of enjoy that boost of knowledge.
Especially in so it's broken up into years. So like each year has 2 volumes. So by the third year, they're bringing in magic characters. And I know most of them. It's like Constantine and Zatanna and stuff. But there are other ones. I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Some really cool pools. It is amazing. It shows why the Batman versus Superman dynamic is so good. And they do a great job of it. They are on opposite sides. So the quick summary is the Joker basically detonates a bomb in Metropolis that also kills Lois, and Superman snaps and literally punches him through the chest and kills him. So he basically decides that there will be no more Jokers. So he's going to stamp out violence anywhere possible. And Bruce is like, no, you're a murderer. You broke the line. I'm going to take you down. And those 2 characters work best against each other when they do have history. It can work when they don't. We're going to see that in this very universe, that they're kind of square off when they first meet in the Timmverse. But in general, if they have history together, it's so much more interesting, because not only do they respect each other, they do kind of love each other. Like, they are really close friends.
Yeah.
And throughout the series, even when they're like going head to head, like there's this weird respect between them, even though they're trying to kill each other. It is amazing. I highly, highly recommend it. I actually downloaded all of it off of the DC Comics app, which is connected to Comixology. There's a big sale, which unfortunately is over. So they're not cheap anymore, but it is really, really good. I highly recommend it.
Game Drop's pretty fun.
I've never played the games. Like I'm not.
Sequel is coming out soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah, I've never been one for fighting games. They don't really do it for me. Like, I watch the trailers and like, I'm interested from a story perspective, but the gameplay isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I probably won't get it.
I mean, it's no Smash Bros, but it's still fun.
See, I don't even like Smash Bros.
Oh, don't say that.
No.
Oh, we're gonna end it on you saying you don't like Smash Bros.
Okay,
it's hard.
I'm just gonna shit all over your dreams here, and we'll wrap it up here. So, as always, we are at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, where you can find links to our bat plugs, including fucking Triple X.
The Return of Xander Cage.
Oh, so painful. But we're there. I'm at Lordifer.
I'm at Cameron.Dexter.
Oh, I'm glad you're catching yourself now.
I'm figuring it out.
Eventually, it'll just get so ingrained, it'll just roll off the tongue. And then, of course, we are now part of the Nerd School Network. So go check out the other podcasts, one of which we have promoted earlier in the show. And check out nerdischool.com. And I think that does it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks. Bye.
The Nerd School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdischool.com.